Broadview Westchester Joint Water Agency meeting to order at 5:04. We are located in the Broadview Municipal Building in the Chambers, located at 2350 South 25th Avenue. Celeste, can we get a roll call, please?
Sure. Mayor Thompson?
Here.
Mayor Stecker?
Here.
Ms. Senior?
Here.
Ms. Caraco?
Here.
Ms. Jones?
Here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Do we have any public comment? No public comment. Next on the agenda is the presentation of the minutes from February 24th, 2022. Have everyone had the opportunity to review the minutes?
Yes.
Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next, item B is the monthly financial report for March 22.
Good evening, Mayor's Board of Trustees.
Good evening.
Hope you all doing well, enjoying the cold, wet weather. So you have presented before you the February 28th financial statements. At the end of the month, we had a little over $5.1 million in cash and investments. I do have a question from one of the board members in regards to the capital assets, which I will investigate and get back to her on. As far as operations are concerned, currently the agency is operating at a $345,000 surplus as of February 28th. As far as budget is concerned, accounts are coming in within budget as projected, except for those that we've previously reported out on other occasions, such as electrical, IMRF, things like that. We are working on the budget with Wesley. We've sent a draft to him, and so that we should be able to have one available for you soon.
Thank you. Trustee Caraco, you have any questions?
You know what, I did have a question that I asked Kelly before the meeting, and that was just what the construction in progress number was, so she was gonna look into that, report back to us.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Mayor Stecker?
Nothing this evening.
Trustee Senior?
No questions.
Ms. Jones?
No.
Thank you. Kelly?
One quick thing, I have training next month, so Chris will be here at my place.
Okay. Thank you for the heads up. Old business, status report on
We need a motion and second.
So moved?
Second.
Can you call the roll, Celeste?
Mayor Thompson?
Yes.
Mayor Stecker?
Yes.
Ms. Senior?
Yes.
Ms. Caraco?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Thank you. Next is communication A, old business, status report on the expansion of the agency water reservoir capacity at 10th Avenue Pump Station site in the 1 million gallon water reservoir project financing from water revenue bonds and refunding of the IEPA loan. So I know that we had got some documentations that we needed from the village of Broadview, and I think Westchester as it relates to the audit. Our audit report is not completed yet, and so we're still waiting on our auditor to get that information to us.
And that's totally understandable. I think what's gonna happen, talking to the engineer is, you know, when we get that audit information, then we'll be able to get a bond rating, then we'll be able to assess whether we issue bonds this year and still bid the project, or, you know, maybe we push the bond issuance to later in the year, and then we bid the project for 2023.
Okay,
But as soon as that financial information comes in, then we'll be able to take the next step. And everybody understands that the audits take time, and the audits are, there's a
like 7 to 8
sequencing of
months
them.
behind, but ours is behind
Oh, okay.
a little bit longer, only because the auditor ran into some COVID stuff.
Yeah.
And the people that work on our accounts, you know, stuff I can't control.
It is what it is, but the bottom line is, whether it's 2022 or 2023, you know, there's, you know, universal support for the project, and staff is ready to execute and move it forward when we, you know, when we are able to.
And hopefully costs will be down because inflation is up now.
The timing could work.
Generic comment. As we get
Can you
closer
come to the
final
mic,
date-
Kelly?
Oh, yeah. All right. as we get closer to a final timeline of it, we should also evaluate, as we know right now, that the feds are gonna increase the rates, which means the rate that's gonna be charged to you is most likely gonna be higher. We'll have to reevaluate how much based on what the project cost comes in at, if we wish to utilize more cash reserves and less bonds. So it's something we'll have to evaluate going forward, because we've already gotten word, they were supposed to do one next week, and then 2 more before the end of June.
Okay.
So they're talking up to 0.75%.
So we probably should have a meeting with finance and superintendent as it relates to timeline to put things more in perspective
Yeah.
for us.
Once you get all the audits and we get everything put together.
And so have Westchester submitted their audit for the bonds, do we know?
I believe the one they're waiting on is the Broadview 2020.
Okay,
I think that was the one they're waiting on.
okay,
But the longer it goes, they'll probably
right.
also want, and so it's one of those trickle downs. I'll follow up with the FA,
can you
And
please
double
and let
check.
us know?
yeah, without a doubt.
All right, I appreciate that, thank you. Any questions for Kelly or the superintendent? Okay, next, under old business, status report on purchase of 1014 to 1020 West Roosevelt Road properties, Broadview, Illinois, by Housing Forward.
And no status other than we're still in the extended due diligence period, and we're waiting for Housing Forward to confirm that it has its multiple tiers of financing in order to move forward and buy the property.
And so we still in the, waiting period? When does that expire, do we know?
April, they got it extended for 120 days back in December-ish, and so it takes them through the end of April. So if they don't get their financing all buttoned up, we may see another request for an extension, which is, given the economy and what other things, that would not be uncommon or atypical.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
Can I just comment as a third item under old business? In April, at our meeting, as Kelly mentioned, they're working on the budget, so we're gonna have a budget hearing at your meeting in April, so just FYI. And then you have to adopt the budget that same day in order for us to get it on file in a timely manner under the state law.
Okay.
And we'll have that all on the agenda, ready to go.
Okay. So before we have the budget hearing with the budget, I'm gonna ask Kelly and the superintendent to have a conversation with me and the mayor as it relates to what we are to expect in the budget and things that we would like to see in the budget before we even get to the hearing. So we can kind of schedule that. We'll send some dates to Wesley and coordinate our schedule.
Hold a special meeting with just you two?
Yeah. Because I know we can't talk, outside that, but yeah, it'll be a special meeting because I think it's fair that we have insight on the budget before the hearing. So I'll coordinate with you, Mayor, on the
Sounds good.
schedule, okay?
Great, thank you.
Okay, next, item B, new business, consideration and approval of finance report as of March 2022 and check detail report period, February 25th, 2022 to March 24th, 2022 in the amount of $510,310.90. The agency check numbers are 16434 through 16455. This is correct. Okay. I need a motion in a second.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Caraco, you have any questions or comments?
I do not, thank you.
Mayor Stecker?
I'm good.
Trustee Senior?
No questions.
Ms. Jones?
No questions.
Celeste, can we get a roll call, please?
Mayor Thompson?
Yes.
Mayor Stecker?
Yes.
Ms. Caraco?
Yes.
Ms. Senior? Ms. Senior?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Celeste. Number 2, consideration and approval of invoice dated 3/17/22 from Premier Specialties of Huntley, Illinois, in the amount of $3,066 for installation, repair, and replacement of chlorine equipment for all pumps at 10th Avenue Pump Station. I did get the memo. I'm sure you got it, Mayor. You want to tell us about it, Wesley?
So, in regards to the chlorine equipment, it is recommended to be maintenance every 3 to 5 years. The last time it was done was in March of 2019. So it's just a matter of routine maintenance.
Okay. Thank you. Trustee Caracco?
No questions.
Mayor Stecker?
No questions.
Trustee Senior?
No questions.
Ms. Jones?
No questions.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Number 3, consideration and direction regarding letter notice dated February 25th, 2022 from City of Chicago regarding 2022 water rate increase. 2021 CPI increase 7.14%. City is imposing a 5% water rate increase effective June 1st, 2022. New water rate will be $32.33 per 1,000 cubic feet, or approximately $4.33 per 1,000 gallons. So I know we've been getting increased for some time, and I guess based off the letter, they've been increasing ever since 2016, correct, Mike?
Yes, the increases have been based on an ordinance that the city put together that is now tied to CPI. So, there's been 1 or 2 years where CPI, was flat, so you didn't get an increase. But CPI has been, is certainly up now, and so we've been seeing some increases over the last few years. And this is the largest one since they went to that CPI escalator, they call it.
And just for the record, I want to read the first paragraph so that the public knows what we're getting and what's could potentially be an increase to the village of Broadview as well as the village of Westchester. And I'm gonna, ask my colleague to make sure that you communicate this to your residents as well, because the last time we did a water, the city of Chicago did a water increase. The mayors did send a letter over to the city of Chicago to ask for some consideration, and we were told no. And so the water rates increased last year. And here we go again, the same scenario, but a little different. The times are a little bit different where people are struggling now. Inflation is incredibly high. Gas rates are high. Water rates are high. We're actually giving community residents that need some relief to pay water bills relief, and we're going to increase their water rates? Are you serious, City of Chicago? Are you serious? We giving relief to people that's in need, and you hitting us with an increase. So this is something that most certainly we need to bring up at the COG for us to discuss as leaders in our respective towns. But the letter reads, the city municipal code states beginning June 1st, 2016, and every year thereafter, the annual rate shall be adjusted upwards if applicable by applying to the previous year rate of inflation, calculated based on the Consumer Price Index, urban wages, earners, and clerical workers, Chicago, all items published by United States Bureau of Labor Statistics for the 365-day period ending on the most recent January 1st. Any such annual increase, however, should be capped at 105% of the previous year's rate. The applicable Consumer Price Index inflation for 2021 was 7.14%. Therefore, please be advised that a 5% water rate increase will take effect on June 1st, 2022. The rate will be as follows. Effective June 1st, 2022, the water rate is $32.33 per 1,000 cubic feet, or approximately $4.33 per 1,000 gallons. Additionally, as you may recall, we are committed to strengthening our regional water partnerships through formation of a wholesale customer advisory council by transitioning from the current flat rate to a more transparent cost of service. Resale rate setting methodology. We will be reaching out to you in the near future to provide updates on both of these important initiatives. We know having a safe, reliable source of drinking water is critical to the prosperity of our region. We deeply value your partnership in the Chicago water system and look forward to working with you going forward. So most certainly we need to address the issue because we are in critical times as it relates to inflation, and this is just an added bonus of things that we can't control, and it's a great impact. And we need, when we do the budget, Superintendent Barbara and Wesley, we need to account for this increase and what percentage, or if we're gonna even do an increase, or are we gonna stay status quo? So those are the things I wanna talk about before we have the budget here to make sure that we can accommodate the revenue and the expenses that we have based off this increase.
Yeah, absolutely. I was not happy to see this.
Okay. Trustee Caracco, you have any questions or comments?
I don't. My question you already answered was if there was an annual cap which was the 5%, so. That was it, thank you.
You're welcome. Mayor Stecker?
Nope, we will be discussing this in greater detail coming up.
Okay, trustee senior?
No questions.
Ms. Jones?
No questions.
Okay, thank you for providing the letter, and we know what we got to do to accommodate the need.
Thank goodness for the cap. Thank goodness for the cap, because it's up to 7.9 now.
Yeah, in talking at the Brookfield North Riverside, they've heard rumors they're gonna rewrite the code to change the format and the formula, so there may be another increase coming even this year.
Well, thank you, Kelly.
I'm so glad I could be the bearer of worse news.
Yeah.
But those are things that we have to be conscious of and be aware of, so we appreciate you sharing that information with us, so thank you. Next on the agenda is item 4, consideration and approval of resolution number 2022-3, resolution approving and authorizing the execution of reimbursement agreement between the Broadview Westchester Joint Water Agency and the Village of Broadview for a Broadview water system operator to assist the agency on a temporary part-time basis with the transmittal memorandum dated March 22nd, 2022 from Klein Thorpe and Jenkins Ltd. So last board meeting, we had discussed this to maybe we can do a in the government agreement with the Village of Westchester to help us with a water operator part-time until we can get someone on our own staff. I don't know if you all had an opportunity to read the resolution, but I'm for it. Okay, so I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Caraco? You had any questions or comments?
So, do we, I assume that Paul, like staffing level, like is arranging for one of our operators to split time?
Yes,
Is
so
that
I
correct?
spoke with the village manager last month, I spoke with the mayor briefly about it, and to get their input on it, because it's a critical time, and the water infrastructure is a huge liability to both municipalities. And we can't take the risk without having one while we search for one, and we
Sure.
gotta have one that's qualified and certified.
Makes sense.
Mike, were you gonna look at the CBA just to make sure that there was no issues?
I was not going to do that. We were
Oh,
gonna,
okay.
you guys, if you were supportive of this, we would send it over to your council.
Okay.
They'll have to deal with
Mhm.
your CBAs on your end. It'd be much more efficient for them to look at
Okay.
that and make sure that this is all copacetic. The wages, since there probably are differentials between, I just put in there that you'll that the agency will reimburse each respective municipality, whatever that per hour cost is for the employee that is assigned over to fill in on a part-time basis. So we don't have a set hour in there.
Okay.
It's just if the person's $28, $32, depending on who's available and who serves, that will be it will be prorated for the period of time that person works. But, yeah, on the labor end, you know, your councils will have to deal with that. If we have to tweak this agreement, we can always bring it back.
Okay.
You good, Mayor?
Yep.
Okay, trustee senior, Ms. Jones?
None.
So can we get a roll call, please?
Mayor Thompson,
Yes.
Mayor Stecker,
Yes.
Ms. Caraco,
Yes.
Ms. Senior,
Yes.
Ms. Jones.
Yes.
Thank you. Next is consideration of approval resolution number 2022-4, resolution approving and authorizing the execution reimbursement agreement between the Broadview Westchester Joint Water Agency and the Village of Westchester for Westchester water system operated to assist the agency on a temporary part-time basis with transmittal memorandum dated March 22nd, 2022 from Klein Thorpe and Jenkins Ltd. So it's the same thing, it's just one is for Broadview and one is for Westchester.
Identical. I was gonna do a three-party agreement, but I just didn't wanna complicate it.
It makes sense.
I just, because maybe Westchester at some point, you know, doesn't wanna participate or doesn't have the capacity to, and Broadview does, and vice versa. So I just kept the agreements identical and just separate.
Thank you, it makes it cleaner. So, I mean, we had a brief discussion, so can we get a roll call, please?
I need a motion and a second.
So
sorry.
moved.
Second.
Mayor Thompson,
Yes.
Mayor Stecker,
Yes.
Ms. Senior,
Yes.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Caraco.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is the superintendent's report.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, superintendent's report is gonna be very brief. I did send a email to the board pertaining my superintendent's report. Okay, interviews for the water operator position will take place in April. The hiring of the part-time assistant has been temporarily postponed. An official update will be provided at the next board meeting. I attended the virtual IEPA spring regulatory update that was presented by the ISAWWA. The important information will be shared with the Village of Broadview and the Village of Westchester Public Works. For the month of March, the agency completed a total of 23 Julie locates along with daily maintenance. The station pumped 116,426,000 gallons of water for the month of March. And that completes my report.
Thank you, trustee Caracco.
No questions, thank you.
Mayor Stecker,
No questions.
trustee Senior,
No questions.
Ms. Jones.
No questions.
I don't have anything.
Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Next is closed session. I would like to go into closed session for the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body per 5 LCS 120/2C-1.
Second.
Go into closed session. Okay, thank you. We're back in closed session.
Regular session.
Regular session, I'm sorry. Thank you, Celeste. We will be entertaining to do a search for a superintendent. Once we get the information, it will be posted on the Broadview Westchester Water Agency website, as well as both municipalities, the Village of Broadview and the Village of Westchester. And so with that being said, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, have a good night.
Thank you.